Okay, hi everyone. I'm really excited for tonight because, as you guys know, we have a really special guest tonight. I've been in love with Beachbody products for almost 5 years now. So to have someone on here who understands the nitty-gritty details of how amazing our nutritionals are, and I sent over some pretty challenging questions to Luigi. So I know that he's the man to answer them, and you guys had some great questions. So a lot of those will be answered tonight. And I heard him speak with Kim Carver when the beach bars were announced, and I was like, we got to have him on a team call. So super quick, before I hand it over to Luigi, I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm really excited for this next season of all the new things that Beachbody is launching, between the beach bars, our new workouts, Super Saturday, Summit, our new VIP early access to programs that's going to be rolling out, and who knows what else Beachbody has in store for us. So I know a lot of us have been talking about our mindset and our confidence. So I just launched that book club with the new book, Girl Wash Your Face. I read one paragraph of it, and I decided that we need to all come together to rock this next quarter, because I know you guys are pushing for our team retreat. So a lot of you want the confidence in yourself. You want the confidence in your business to talk about our products. I feel like between Luigi and the passion of this book, we're going to do some awesome things together. So Luigi, I am so grateful to have you here, and I don't want to take up any more of your time. Do you want me to read the questions? Do you want to read them? What do you want to do?
Yeah, Carly. Well, first off, I'm so sorry I'm 5 minutes late. My bad. Okay. We'll make it up with another training call. And by the way, I'm on your schedule, so I've got a full hour if you need me. So whatever you need me plus, but if you got to keep it to whatever you like. So we can go as long as you like, and as long as your coaches are available. But if you like, you can pitch me the questions. It might be a nice back and forth.
Sure.
I've got them on my phone, but rather than just me reading them through them, it would be great to have your involvement. You're like the MC of the event, so that could be terrific.
Perfect. Awesome. And yeah, team calls are really special to us. I know not every team does them, and we have great team culture. So again, we're excited to have you. And I think the first question I want to pick, they're not in order. Is that okay?
Absolutely. You can anywhere you want to go with them.
Okay, I actually found this question really interesting, and I never thought of it myself, but what is the natural flavor in some of the products like Hydrate and Energize?
Yeah, so absolutely. So these are great questions. So first, I would kick it off by saying, so I'm going to give a 10-second introduction to me.
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. And Colleen, I hope to meet you and many of the coaches who are on this call in person at some point at events around the country or around the world, if you're in Canada or in the UK. I'm a family medicine doctor. My name is Luigi Grodin. I know it's a weird name, Luigi. If you have an adolescent who plays Mario Brothers, then they probably know the cartoon character Luigi. But so I'm trained in family medicine and clinical nutrition. I'm born and raised here in Los Angeles, California. I grew up very close, about 25 minutes away from this office. And I went to UCLA, which is a local university down the street. Went away for medical school, and I came back here and I got my specialization in family medicine and clinical nutrition because I was interested in exercise and nutrition and performance. So it's something I've always been kind of really into, and I naturally gravitated towards this company, Beachbody, because really the products attracted me, and we'll talk about the products and the ingredients to your first question, but also the culture of how you as coaches talk about exercise. You lead with health, with results and changes. It was something that I've always really been interested in as a doctor, but it's really hard to do when you're in clinic and you're running from patient to patient. So to your first question, think of all the Beachbody products: no artificial colors, no artificial sweeteners, no preservatives, no food dyes, no red, yellow, none of that stuff, blue. This is really important because we carry that philosophy into everything, including the bars that we're going to talk about in a second, if you guys have bar questions, because we're launching those. But in terms of something being all natural, it's really important to recognize that we use natural flavoring systems for the products. So if you think about Hydrate and Energize, the products you're asking about, you may notice that they've got this really bright color to them when you pour a glass. That's not a food dye. That's not a food coloring. It's actually something, it's a coloring that's natural. It's called quercetin. And quercetin is a powerful antioxidant. It does give a little touch of flavor to the product. And it also helps provide the benefits so that you're not feeling sore when you're doing a workout or if you finish an 80-day obsession. There's some other ingredients in some of our products, like, let's say, Energize. The reason why people feel that tingling with Energize, use something called beta-alanine, which naturally converts into something called carnosine. Not important, but that tends to buffer lactic acid. And that's why when you're doing 80-day obsession, you can do multiple repetitions or your favorite Beachbody workout, and you don't sort of peter out and feel, tired. So that's why these products give results. Now, when you think about the other natural flavors, there's sweetening systems that we use, and we use organic cane sugar. Now, some of you know that it's in Shakeology, and it's been there, but you're noticing in your new shipments of Energized Recover Recharge that we moved away from beet sugar and we're going to organic cane sugar. And the reason why we're doing that is to ensure, first, we standardize the sweetener, the sweetening system, which is natural, organic, and it tells us a lot. When you look at a Shakeology and you see organic cane sugar, or if you look at the bar, you're going to see organic cane sugar in there. Or if you look at your performance products, you'll see organic cane sugar. And it means that when that sugar is sourced and it's produced on a farm that's organic, that means they can't use genetically modified seeds. That means they can't spray pesticides and herbicides or chemicals that can get into the food supply, that get into our kids, into our bodies, and we don't mess with any of that stuff. That also means those farms don't have sewage runoff or irradiated products in it. So just the word organic on your cane sugar, on all these labels, gives us the level of confidence that not only is it a great natural sweetener, to Colleen's question, but it provides us confidence that it's clean. And that's the thing about Beachbody products. Super clean, super pure, and great sourcing. So it's an excellent question, but think of the quercetin, that really strong color, and then think of things like organic cane sugar. We put a little bit of stevia in there, which is also natural, and that gives a nice flavor, sweetness to it. And then, of course, if you're looking at whether it's strawberry, vanilla, chocolate, we always want to use natural flavors and natural sweeteners, which whatever favorite Shakeology that you're using.
You're the man, Luigi. I love it. I love these answers. Okay, thank you for answering that one. We wanted to ask about the allergy information. We know that the factory has allergens and it's on the label. Do you know specifically if shellfish and nuts touch the same equipment?
That's a great question. So technically, no, we're not using any shellfish or, no, let me first say, we have nuts in the bars, whether you're using the chocolate cherry almond or you're having your peanut butter chocolate, okay? And so right on the products, and these are beautiful products, when you are unboxing or sort of unwrapping, you're going to notice right across the top the calories, the protein, the fiber, and you're going to notice gluten-free if you're here in the US. If you have business in Canada, in the UK, you may not see the gluten. I think we have it on there on all the labels. But the beauty is some people don't, they have issues with gluten if they have a celiac condition or a real serious allergy to gluten. So you can ensure that certain things like that, you can call them out as you're opening the box and showing them the bars, okay? So we've tried to make it real easy so you're getting a highlight of the ingredients right there. But to your question about the allergens, whenever we're making a formula, we're not adding the shellfish or particular things. We don't use any soy. We don't use any genetically modified soy or any soy in any of the products. But you have to think of these manufacturing facilities. They're huge. And we may be blending our shakes or making our bars in one area of the facility. But let's say there's some guy who's working in the facility literally half a mile away, and he was sort of packaging shellfish or tree nuts or peanuts or soy, and then he walks across the facility and puts his hands in some of our stuff, our formula. We don't have the ability to guarantee that that can't happen. The odds of it happening are slim to none. It'll probably never happen. But the government makes us label these allergen statements. And that's only because if someone has an incredible allergy to any of those things, we have to put that label on there that protects us and you, the coach. So we don't blend with any of that stuff, shellfish. We don't blend with, gluten or soy, none of that stuff. But because there are some things that are common allergens, that's what the government suggests we put on the label. And we're a good company. That's why we do that.
And I'll talk to the shellfish allergy myself because I actually have it. And coaches will often post on our team page and they will say, Colleen has this allergy. Can my customer have it? Every person is so different. It's so hard for me to say, or even Luigi. It's kind of up to the person if they have an allergy and they're worried about that label or seeing that allergy information. And I mean, the person who's severely allergic, they're going to know yes or no if they're willing to try it. So I usually just leave it. I tell them the disclaimer. I tell them my story, and then I leave it up to them to make their own confident decision if they're comfortable trying it. Because I get it. Some people have like crazy allergies. But like he said, doesn't touch our equipment unless something weird and like that scenario happens. Okay, I'm sure you're really passionate about this, Luigi. How do you personally believe the Beach Bar compares to other bars? Are the bars okay for children? I guess those are two questions, but. Yeah,
no, great. And they're great questions. So I'm really excited about the Beach Bar. Here's the chocolate cherry almond. Okay. So I just grabbed this one in the box. And by the way, the beauty is you're going to find all the ingredients right on the label. It's beautiful packaging. I can't say enough about the creative team who did a great job making all the stuff. So it's going to be a really easy bar to sell, I think, not only to consume. So first off, my 4-year-old daughter, Juliana, she's almost 4.5. She's been my personal test case on the bar because she's been eating boxes of this stuff. So we've all been eating the bar as a family. I've got 2 kids and my wife, so we're eating tons of bars. We love it, and it's absolutely fine for children. Yes, so kids can use the bar, and if you've got business in any country, the UK or Canada or the US, they can have the bar as well. So there's no regulatory issue with kids having the bar. So it's great for kids and adults. The reason why I'm so passionate about the bar is we took a look at, first of all, it's a massive category. So if you think about Quest Bar, they sell them in gyms. If you go to 24 Hour Fitness or Equinox or whatever, you'll see the Quest Bar there, and they use sucralose, and they use, I don't want to knock other companies, okay? We're not here to do that. I just believe we're the best. But if you look at Quest Bar, it's really for people who are finishing a workout. It's like a muscle bar, but it's got a lot of artificial sweeteners. Not our category, okay? We know they do well. We're looking at the snack bar category, which is a $7 billion market, okay? So it's massive, $7 billion in the snack category. And on top of that, that's just for bars. And when we look at the snack bars, we know that people are not only having snack bars, they're having chips. That's the #1 consumed chip. And Carl, our CEO, is always talking about, like, why are people eating these garbage potato chips that are filled with sodium and all kinds of high saturated fats, trans fats, when they should be having a bar like ours? So why do I get passionate about the bar? We look at the competitors: Lara Bar, Cliff Bar, RX Bar, Kind Bar. And we took those 4 because those are the really big money producing bars. And we stacked our bar against those bars. And calorie for calorie, we have more protein, we have more fiber, and we have less sugar. I'm going to say it again. Calorie for calorie, we have more protein, more fiber, and less sugar. And that's when we stacked up against Lara Bar, Kind Bar, the RX Bar, and Cliff. You're going to know, by the way, you're going to have this when we launch the bars in all your marketing material, and it's going to be really easy. You'll be able to email this and Instagram this. So don't worry about taking too many notes, but I want you to feel like, wow, this bar is amazing. It tastes incredible. It tastes so good. And the 10 grams of protein are really clean. So you got whey protein crisps, and we have pea protein crisps. We also use wholesome nut butters from almond and peanut. So the peanuts and almonds, which are very wholesome, they provide a little bit of protein. They provide a little bit of the essential fats, the monounsaturated, the polyunsaturated, and it just tastes amazing. And again, we're using a touch of organic cane sugar. The sweetener also comes from the chocolate chips, the chocolate coating, and a little bit of stevia. So I get really fired up about the bar because it's really healthy. It's got 10 grams of protein. Again, right on top, you're going to see your 150 calories, 10 grams of protein, 0 trans fats, 4 grams of fiber, and gluten-free. So you're going to, as soon as you open, you're going to have some really cool stuff to work with, and you can read that right off the label when you get your box. But it's just an easy bar to sell, and it's the best bar in the market.
You must be buddies with Alana. I was in the test group for 2B Mindset, but at UCLA, I assume you guys are buddies, right?
Yes, that's right. I met Alana in Vegas when I first joined the company. She and her husband were backstage, and she was just amazing. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. Now, I didn't work directly with her, but we knew a lot of the same doctors, and she works in another major university called Cedars-Sinai. But what's really powerful about Alana, and many of you know, 2B Mindset's coming. We're super excited. What's really cool is when I worked in clinical practice at UCLA, I worked in this department called the risk factor obesity. Now, you coaches, you help people get results. So you help people lose weight, 20 pounds, 50 pounds. We would work on people who needed to lose 250 pounds. So it was really lots of weight loss, right? But the most important phase was not so much when they lost the 100 pounds, it was the maintenance. What do you do when you're going to a wedding? What do you do when you're going to a family reunion? What do you do when you're going to go to a kid's birthday? That's what we're going to have with this really exciting addition of Alana and the 2B Mindset. I think it's going to be a game changer, and I think your business is going to go through the roof. But for me as a physician, it's going to help so many people when they're getting results and after they've got the results to keep the weight off. And that's what's really exciting. I've never seen anyone commercialize a program like this, and that's why I'm so in awe of what Alana does. It's really exciting.
I know, she blew my mind. I mean, I've been around Beachbody for a long time, but a coach for almost 5 years. And, you know, we've had all these celebrity trainers, and we've never had anyone like Alana. So I think I agree with you. It's an amazing addition, and you nailed it. It's really a maintenance, because you can't do 80-day obsession forever and ever and ever. I mean, you can, but you're probably going to be really tired and really sore and get sick of it. But the 2B Mindset, I mean, I lost my baby weight. I'm still following it. So it's been great. I love it. So amazing. That's my plug for 2B Mindset.
I'm a fan.
Yes. Okay. I wanted to touch too. I love how you said calorie for calorie, because I didn't know that about the bars, that comparison, because I was curious. You know, Larabar has a ton of sugar. It tastes really sugary. So knowing that it does have more protein calorie for calorie. And if you guys were on our team call when Isabel Deichler spoke, she said that the way that she makes her shake a meal and to hold her over is she adds coconut oil and almond butter. And so I love that we use wholesome nut butters in the bars, because it's definitely going to probably hold us over longer. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, but from someone who consumes these products, that's the first thing that I think of. So love that that's in there.
Great point, Colleen. If I could jump in on that point, because I work a lot with Isabel and Darren. I get to chat with them tomorrow. I'm so in awe of them because I love Shakeology and they made it. So I love to pick their brain. But what you just said about Isabel is so true. Isabel is a big fan of healthy fats. And so I'm older than most of you on this call. When I was your age, I get to say that, right? Fats were like a really bad thing. And fats, like early on in my medical career, when I was in medical school and undergraduate, we did low-fat diets. We promoted low-fat. We weren't talking about people taking fish oil or, you know, different types of, let's say, avocados or olive oil. Now we've completely changed our thinking. Fats are essential. If you are pregnant or if you have had a child, you know a baby's brain development is really important in the first 2 to 3 years, especially 2 years. And half of our brain is something called DHA, which is an omega-3 fat. Your brain is made of fat, like a huge part of it. So it's super important for kids' development. It's really important for us as we try to avoid diabetes and hypertension and chronic disease. It's important for the skin and the hair and the eyes. And we're finding out that fat is really important to reduce inflammation, so we don't get dementia and we don't have suffer issues when we get older. So your point that you just made right now about adding the coconut oils or coconut whatever, so coconut milk or coconut oil, and then adding an almond butter, those are healthy monounsaturated fats or polyunsaturated fats. They're a blend, and those fats help to reduce inflammation in the body, keep the body nice and cool so you don't get chronic diseases, and they help every single cell. The trillions of cells you have in the body, they make up the membrane of the cell, and they're really important. So they're essential, and that's why in the bar, you're going to see some healthy fats, monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, right on the label, okay? So don't be scared of fats. We need a little bit. We need them in the right amounts, and they're really super important.
I geek out on this stuff. If you ever want to add anything in, just please feel free. I'm loving it. And if you guys have questions too as we go, because Luigi's crushing it, you guys can throw them in the chat box. And of course we can go over those. So you covered how do we handle the value comparison to I love that, the snack bar versus the muscle bar. That is a huge one. So make sure you guys write it down, have it in your head, whatever you need. This is kind of this is my question. So we find so many objections when it comes to doing our best to share the value of Shakeology. What resource or way do you suggest that we help someone really understand the value? Is it a personal story? Is it a video? Like, how do you think we should really get across to our people that Shakeology is amazing?
So I've got my 2 bags of Shakeology, my whey and my vegan, and I'll break down a little bit of the Shakeology, but I think it's important to give a little bit of context for a second before we get into the individual bags. So Shakeology just celebrated 9-year birthday, right? It's 9 years of age, amazing, and it was one of the first trailblazing shakes and I've been working in the world of nutrition for many years, and there were very few shakes like this in the market. So when Shakeology first launched, there were only really a few shakes that were really kind of similar. But Shakeology was the best in class, and everyone tried to copy it. Now we had our team do an analysis. There are over 750 different shakes. When you consider mail order shakes, network marketing shakes, shakes you can get at Walmart, Costco, Albertsons, Ralph, you name it. There's so many different shakes, and the boutique shakes, the ones that are in the small health food pharmacies and stores. So there's almost 800 different shakes. That's a huge change in 9 years. That means for our coaching network, it's a more competitive landscape. But when you boil it down, we're still the best in class, and we only really have about 2 or 3 competitors. You know all the competitors. You probably hear the top names that coaches may talk about or customers may talk about, because they've created a similar shake to ours. Some of them even make the bags look very similar, right? So first and foremost, you have to understand we're best in class. I'm going to tell you why. There's usually 5 areas I go into, but I'm going to try and shorten it. So one is protein. It's really interesting if you take either your whey or you take your vegan, and at the top, and this is where Darren and Isabel just really are amazing. At the top, you'll see this proprietary protein blend, and that's the top. A lot of people get lost in the label, like, it's very complex. I always say it's elegant. It's like a really amazing blend of stuff. So the protein, you have to think of it clean protein. We have the rice, the pea, the sacha inchi, the chia, the flax. You don't have to go through all of those, but understand that we source really clean protein. I'm going to talk about how we do the testing on our ingredients in a second after I answer this question. But just understand, really clean protein, a lot of other companies are not using the same types of protein. I'm not saying that they use dirty protein. I want to call any companies out. But it's easier to get cheap stuff that's filled with lots of bad stuff, heavy metals, toxins, pesticides, herbicides, genetically modified ingredients. We steer clear of all that. So we try and source really clean protein that's ethically and responsibly sourced. So it's a premium blend, but it's a premium best-in-class product. So that's really interesting. I should say it's really important, number one, protein. So by the way, a lot of other companies sell pea protein. A lot of it is garbage, okay? I'm not gonna call out any names, because when I talk to the R&D suppliers, pretty much anyone who's selling pea protein, if they're buying it from particular countries, it's got a lot of garbage in it, a lot of junk, filler. We source a very particular pea protein that comes from one company in Europe. It's super clean. It gives us the confidence that it's got the right amino acid profile. And that means when it gets in your body, it delivers results. So just because one of your new coaches says, hey, I had a customer who told me they've got a pea protein shake for half the price, that doesn't mean it's the same pea protein. It's probably a lower grade rice or pea filled with garbage. And again, I'm not calling any companies out, but just have confidence that we have very high level quality, okay? And I'll talk about how we test that in a second. The second thing is the sugar. Remember the organic cane sugar I mentioned. A lot of other shakes, you're going to notice the word fructose on there. And fructose is good if you're getting it from real fruit. But the dirty little secret that's happening in the food industry now is people are taking genetically modified corn and genetically modified other fruits and vegetables, and they extract sugar and they chemically make it look like fructose. And then they sell it as fructose. They don't have to disclose where it came from. They don't have to tell us that it came from genetically modified corn. That's bad because the pesticides and herbicides that they sprayed on the corn get into that sweetener, that fructose. So a lot of the shakes you're going to see in the marketplace that are trying to compete with us that are less priced, lower priced, you'll notice fructose on the label. That probably means it came from GMO corn, and it probably means it's got traces of pesticides, herbicides, and bad stuff in it, okay? I'm not knocking any other companies. A lot of responsible companies like us, but trust in the organic cane sugar. It's pure, it's clean, and we know the farmers that we get it from. We know the farmers, what they're doing, the practices, because they have to certify it organic. Okay, so that's point two. I want to get into the probiotics. I'll lump these all together. The probiotics, digestive enzymes, the fiber, and all this stuff, and the prebiotics, all the stuff that make us go poop, right? I always say fiber and digestive enzymes are not sexy. Protein is sexy. When you post a before or after picture of your abdominal muscles or post baby weight, how you're getting ripped and you're showing off your legs, that's sexy. And that's what we sell in Beachbody. No one posts a picture of the toilet with a bag of Shakeology saying, I pooped twice a day today and the probiotics are working. It's not sexy, right? But it's essential. It's essential because probiotics, you gotta get them in the body. And a lot of companies with these other cheaper shakes are selling probiotics that aren't stable. They get destroyed in the stomach when they get in your stomach acid. What do we do? When you look at this proprietary blend of pre and probiotics on your label, you're gonna notice something called Bacillus coagulans. That's the letter B, C, Bacillus coagulans. And that's a probiotic that's wrapped in a shell naturally. We put it in the product, so it's protected. It makes it through the stomach acid, and when it hits the right temperature in your intestine, the shell opens up and the healthy bacteria pops out, and it helps your intestine. And it talks to your brain, your heart, your nervous system, and it helps you go poop. So just that alone is something that most companies are not doing with their shakes. They'll throw in some lactobacillus, that gets destroyed right away as soon as it goes in the stomach. So understand we got clean protein, organic sugar at the right levels, okay? The probiotic mix and all the pre-probiotic and fiber mix. And those three things, I'll stop there, but those three things make Shakeology best in class. I can go on and on about adaptogens and ashwagandha and reishi mushroom, all the stuff that you're going to hear Darren and Isabel talk about as they do more trainings. But just work with the basics, your protein, your sugar, and your fiber and probiotics, because that's what your customers are looking for. So start with those three, I would say.
That's so awesome. I've always wanted to ask this question, and I'm glad that you just talked about the mushrooms, because my husband went through chemo, and I was sick a few years ago, and we found Chinese medicine, and I'm a huge believer in every ingredient in Shakeology, especially now after doing my research. But I know that they don't disclose the amount of chlorella or, the specific mushroom. How do they decide how much to put in there if we don't know? Because, I can tell my customer, oh, it has ashwagandha, but if their doctor's recommending a high dose of ashwagandha, that's a mouthful, how do we know that there's enough in there?
It's a great question. It's an excellent question. So there's a couple parts to this question. Number one is that when you think about the proprietary blend, I'll use my vegan bag, all these proprietary blends, technically it's part of our secret sauce. The reason why the other companies, I'm not going to name them, that they can't catch us with taste and texture. And think about how easy it is to blend Shakeology. I've tried hundreds of shakes and they clump and they stick to the side of the blender and you can't do it in a shaker cup. So just the proprietary blend is part of our secret sauce. It's sort of like if you think about the formula for a Coca-Cola or, Dr. Pepper, they never disclose the ratios of stuff in there, right? Because that's what makes them special. Clearly, we're not them. We're a healthy brand, but we have a special formula that we don't disclose the amounts of, because then a company could say, I'll just do this. I'll do specific amounts and I'll kind of copy them. So that's one of the reasons. But it's really important to recognize whenever we use a phytonutrient, which is what you're talking about, and that just means a plant-based nutrient, we use them in amounts that are within what we call the nutritional range. So, because you mentioned, Colleen, traditional Chinese medicine and sort of like using mushrooms with your husband, all that cool stuff. So it's important to recognize all medicines, all pharmaceuticals come from plants. They're plant compounds, right? And they may synthesize them and do them in the lab. But drugs are made in the pharmaceutical range, which is very high level stuff. So you may hear of like a pharmaceutical dose of something. We play in what's called the nutritional range, which is much lower. And that's a good thing, because no one's going to get harmed by any of the products. They're not going to really be, they won't be affected in a bad way by the ashwagandha and the mushroom. But we want to ensure that we put those amounts of mushroom and ashwagandha in the right blend, in the right amounts that are going to support the body. And that's where we consult Darren and Isabel, and we say, how much would you like us to put in? What do you think is the right amount? And that's where we usually get our prescribed amounts based on the literature. So yeah, we don't disclose it because it's a proprietary formula. So we don't want to give our secrets away, but we also rely on our like naturopathic experts. I always say the Darren and Isabel's to say, hey, what do you think is the right blend and what amounts should we put in? And that's where they really come and help us out. So it's kind of, it's kind of a two-part question I like to answer, but I always say that think about the secrecy of the blend and the brain trust behind the ingredients.
I know, I could listen to Isabel talk forever. She was amazing for us. And I never knew her story, so that also inspired me to learn more about, her past.
Amazing. And Colleen, before I forget, since we're talking about ingredients and you asked about Shakeology, if I could do a 2-minute pitch on the safety and sourcing of how we test.
Yeah, we'd actually love to hear that.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what really, one of the things that put me over the top in terms of Shakeology when I was learning about it, when I actually came and interviewed for the job and then got the job and learned. So I didn't know how we tested. And there's a 3-step process. It's actually a ton of steps, but 3 steps. So every single ingredient that you see in any of our products, but let's just take Shakeology because it's the most intricate with all these ingredients. Every single ingredient, we buy them from different places. So we get the mushrooms from a different place. We get the ashwagandha from a manufacturer, and they may be in some other country. So we have to order from different places. Consider there's over 60 plus ingredients in your Shakeology, right? In your 2 blends. Now, every single step 1 is if we take our scientists, we send them to the ingredient manufacturer, and they do what I call the white glove inspection. They don't literally put a white glove on, but they walk around the manufacturing center. They make sure that it's clean, it's up to standards, and they pass all the Beachbody standards, which are really hard to pass. It's important. So, we've got good manufacturers. And then here's the important thing. They test the ingredients there on site. They got to make sure that if someone's selling us ashwagandha or reishi mushroom, that it's really ashwagandha and reishi mushroom. So we have to test there, and we have to look at their specifications. So that's one thing. That's step 1. Very few companies go to the ingredient manufacturer. Most companies just say, order a ton of soy protein from wherever, and they just wait for the shipment to come in, and that's it. We go to the suppliers, we test there. Number 2, we bring all those bags of different ingredients, then we test them again. And when I say we test them, we do 60 independent tests on each batch of ingredients. I'll say that again. We do 60 independent tests on each batch of ingredients. Now, that's good because we know that it's still ashwagandha, it's still reishi mushroom or whatever, and then we go into the blending. And we put everything together, and it usually takes, if we're going to blend up a massive amount of Shakeology, it may take a whole day or 2. After we've got all the final blends, we take batches and we do 300 independent tests per batch. So we're looking for purity. We're making sure there's no excipients, and excipients are like cardboard or wood chips. We want to make sure none of that stuff gets in from a manufacturing plant into the purity of our product. And of course, we're also testing to make sure the ashwagandha is still in there, the vitamins are in there, the minerals, whatever. So it's like a 60, 60, 300. If you think about the 60 testing at the facility, 60 levels of testing per batch in the blending, before blending, and then 300 after. And then it gets shipped to you direct if you're doing Shakeology. If you're also buying Recover and Recharge, we also test for banned substances, drugs, amphetamines, anything that may affect an athlete that you're sponsoring, or a high school coach if you're talking to them about the products. So I want you to feel super duper confident about not only the purity, but also the levels of testing and quality. It's second to none in the industry. Another reason why we have a Shakeology that's best in class.
And that's something that we have been so excited as coaches to like learn more of. And I think Darren and Isabel were saying that they want to train us more on that kind of stuff, because I don't think the network realizes how much goes into this bag that shows up on our doorstep.
It's huge. Yeah, a ton of stuff.
Okay, so obviously we know that, you know, our products cannot treat any diseases or disorders, but someone had asked about hormones, more specifically thyroid disorders. Do our products, can they help with any of those issues? What about diabetes?
Yeah, so I'll do the diabetes first, because the thyroid is always a little, I wouldn't say tricky, but diabetes is usually pretty straightforward. The beautiful thing about our products, and again, I'll start with saying, if anyone has a medical condition, have them talk to their doctor, have them consult with their practitioner or their health educator. So we know that that's what a responsible coach does. You're not trying to act like you're the practitioner, but you can talk to them about asking the doctor about things like, if they have diabetes, consider why this shake is so good. So first of all, the shake, when you blend it, and there's different levels, because there's different blends. It may be 130 calories, 140 calories, depending on which one you're using. That's very little calories. Your typical, let's say, coffee from your favorite coffee house can be 400, 500, 600 calories filled with sugar. So think about a shake that delivers 17 grams of protein, 16 or 17 grams, depending on which blend, and it gives you about 140 calories. It's very low. So for someone who has diabetes, this shake would be, I think, an important part of their daily program, if their doctor allows it, of course. Now, why is it important? Because we talked about the organic cane sugar. We only use 7 grams of organic cane sugar. That's 28 calories. That's 1/3 of a piece of fruit. That's like nothing. So that helps us certify these products low glycemic index. And a low glycemic index is what people who have diabetes look for in their foods. What does a low glycemic index mean? It simply means if I drank a soda, the sugar rush would go really high, and then insulin would come out and it would drop. So it's the peak and trough, and that's why diabetics get supercharged with sugar, and then they get like really tired. And they need to take medicine to manage the sugar. Low glycemic, and that's, by the way, that's a high glycemic index, like a soda. Foods that are a low glycemic index, like our shake and our bars, which are certified low glycemic index, they have a slow metabolism in the body. That means sugar doesn't go in very quickly. And then it's a slow metabolism into the cells. So you feel sustained energy with Shakeology because of this low glycemic index. We certified all of the flavors, whey and vegan, as low GI. So if you've got someone with diabetes, you should certainly talk to them about using Shakeology. Make sure they get the doctor's approval, but you should let them know, hey, talk to your doctor, because this is a low glycemic index product. And even the bars are low glycemic index as a snack. So they can approach their doctor, and their doctor will probably be thrilled. Like, oh my gosh, you got a low GI food. By the way, what I often say is, if you're talking to someone who's got diabetes or a thyroid condition, you can either tell them to download the label or bring the product in and say, hi, doctor, I'd like to take this product. I'm interested in, is there any ingredient on the label that you don't like for my condition? Simply walking in with a bag of Shakeology saying to the doctor, hey, can I take this? That's not really a fair question, because the doctor is going to be confused and I don't know, they're going to say no. So instead, Ask the doctor, is there any ingredient on the label that you don't like for my medical condition? Now they've got to look and they'll say, oh, this is low sugar, low glycemic index, high in good protein, it's plant-based. I love this stuff. So telling your coach or customer to ask the right question is important. Last thing I'll say on thyroid, the products, it's hard to know with a thyroid condition. Some people are hyperthyroid, which means they may have a Graves' disease, or hypothyroid. Most people are hypo, which means they have a slow thyroid. They may be overweight, constipated. They may have some hair loss. And those folks, I simply have them avoid certain things. I usually have them avoid soy. And we don't have any soy in the products, which is great. So I would talk to them again, make sure they talk to their doctor, see what they like. But I think getting them on a meal replacement or a shake like ours, which is technically a snack, which can help as a meal, would be very helpful because it's going to reduce their calories and give them all the nutrients they need. So I would recommend both, but I would say clear it with their doctor.
I didn't realize that the bar that you said was also certified low glycemic. So for someone that's diabetic, you would suggest that being like a snack for them, right? I'm not very well versed.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I would say, because we don't register, so this is interesting. If you've ever had a family member stay in the hospital, they bring them medical food. So you may see something called a Boost or Ensure or Sustical. These are shakes that are registered as medical foods, so they go on hospital formularies. We don't want our products to be thought of as hospital food, so we register them as foods and snacks and supplements. So technically, we can't really play in the space where we promote it for diabetics, because that's what medical foods do. They get the license to do that. But if you're talking to someone with diabetes and they're looking for low glycemic index foods and snacks, talk to them about the Beach Bar. And then, of course, say, hey, make sure you talk to your doctor because, I don't want to say that I'm promoting this as a medicine. But yeah, absolutely, low GI. And by the way, the GI score is scored on a factor of 100. All of our products, like the Shakeology and the bars, are usually hovering around 40. That's a low score, like 37, 36, 41. These are super low. That's like having a bowl of lentils or a salad. It's a very, very low glycemic index, and that's a good thing.
I am like a Beachbody encyclopedia when it comes to FAQ things, and I actually used to use this low glycemic index on Google that actually was made by Shakeology. So I don't know, Luigi, if it's actually in our resources and training still, because I don't think it's in there. But if you guys go on Google, it says, if you just Google low glycemic index Shakeology, there's a great PDF that was made by our company, and it explains it all with the chart and everything with the blood glucose concentrations. And it was very informative for my customers that ask about the GI stuff. So
that's totally true. And I didn't know about that, Colleen, so I'm going to look myself this evening. I'll check it out. Very cool tool.
Yeah, I don't know when and where I found that, but okay, does anyone else have, I think that was all the questions that we had that I sent in. Does anyone want to ask one more question? I think you nailed all of them, Luigi.
I'm glad. I'm sorry. I'm going to close this window in my office. Sorry.
Okay. Anyone else? You can unmute yourself if you want, or type it in the chat box.
I can, and if there are no questions, I can give you a little bit on, we talked Shakeology, we talked bars. I can give you a little bit on recover and recharge and energize for 1 or 2 minutes if you like, because clearly a lot of your coaches are consuming those products. A lot of your customers are consuming those products. So with 80-Day Obsession, Energize and Recover sales went through the roof. Autumn talked a lot about those products. It drove the popularity and sales. They were already popular, but we literally they were just flying off the shelves. So let's talk about Energize real quick. And I've got it hidden back here somewhere. Got my Energize here. Sorry, got so many products. Here we go. So Energize, and we got Recover, and I'll do Recharge. Okay, so real quickly, I'll do this quick because I know want to be respectful of your time. Energize is amazing because it's got 100 milligrams of caffeine. It's clean sourced caffeine from green tea and coffee bean extract. So We love the fact that it's clean caffeine, 100 milligrams per serving. And if you do 2 scoops, that's 200 milligrams. That's about equal to 1 cup of coffee when you think 1 scoop. A typical American coffee, 100 milligrams, okay? Now, the cool thing about Energize is we mentioned the beta-alanine earlier. That's what gives you the tingle when you take Energize. And that also gives you the ability to do 80-day obsession or your favorite Shanti workout a little bit longer, because that buffers the lactic acid that causes soreness, okay? We also have the quercetin, which I mentioned earlier when Colleen, when you asked about food coloring and sweet and things that bring taste to the product. So quercetin is a natural food color, a phytonutrient, which gives it that bright color. And of course, when we talk about one of the most important things that I love in the product, it's a small ingredient that no one thinks about. It's called magnesium citrate, C-I-T-R-A-T-E. And that told me that Beachbody is an awesome company. Very few companies use magnesium citrate. It's super premium form of magnesium. We use just a touch. But the fact that our formulators went in with magnesium citrate was a sign to me that they wanted to make really good premium products. A lot of people use cheaper magnesium forms that don't get absorbed. So that's why I knew Energize was amazing. To recover and recharge. So here's your recover and recharge. Recover is what you think of as fast acting. As soon as you finish a workout, you want to take recover because it's got the whey, W-H-E-Y. It's got P and casein, okay? So it's got the whey, pea protein, and casein. That's fast acting. And then recharge is got micellar casein, which is slower acting. So you take that at night. Think about if I broke a hole in the wall behind me, you'd have to fix the hole quickly. So I would quickly patch it up with something to cover the hole. And that's what basically your recover does. It acts very quickly. But then at night, I'd have someone behind the wall working like someone putting new wood, putting new drywall, putting new, maybe some metal support. And that's what recharge does when you're sleeping. It slowly, progressively builds up that muscle tissue. So there's a science to the products, fast acting and slow acting. And the last thing is, this has got pomegranate. Pomegranate helps to reduce muscle soreness. Recharge has something called tart cherry, which also reduces muscle soreness. And that's why on the label, you'll notice the claim that says reduces the delayed onset of muscle soreness. So I wanted to give you a little bit on recover, recharge, and energize because you guys generate so much money with those products and so many people use them, and those are like the top selling products. The other ones are great too, creatine and hydrate, but we know that those are the 3 that are really your sales are showing strong.
I'm obsessed with Orange Recover. I'm like the one person who doesn't do the chocolate. I love the orange. We have another question. I don't know if you've ever worked with pregnant or breastfeeding clients, but let's talk a little bit about like maybe if you are well, obviously you're educated, but educated in this area of Shakeology with breastfeeding, risks and benefits for women breastfeeding?
Absolutely. So whenever, when we went through, I say we because my wife would say, I went through it. You didn't do anything. But when we were pregnant and with our 2 children and she breastfed for both of our children, I made sure that my wife was using a shake at least once a day. Because when you're pregnant, you need an additional, and I'm sure many of you who have children, your doctor told you, you need an additional 300 calories just to keep weight. You want to keep those calories because you're feeding another human being, right, inside your body. Now, once you deliver and you start feeding, naturally, you go into this hypermetabolic mode where then you start requiring 500 calories a day additional. And you'll notice for those of you who breastfed, you start dropping weight quickly. And you get those weird muscle cramps when you're feeding because your body's just going into hypermetabolism. So it's not fun, but it's phenomenal because you get great results. But here's the important thing. The baby's job is to take all the energy out of your body, whether it's the natural omega-3s that the mom makes, the vitamins, the minerals, the red blood cells, and extract that so the baby's healthy. So for brain development, muscle development, everything. That leaves the mom with like nothing. That's why there's postpartum depression. and there's weakness after, you know, and it's just so hard when the baby first comes. So the important thing, we want to set up people for success. So I've made sure my wife was on a shake all throughout pregnancy and when she was breastfeeding. To this day, my wife actually drinks daily sunshine because she makes it for the kids, and then she does her, you know, she knocks out 2 of them herself. But the important thing to your question is, I truly believe in making a breakfast shake is very healthy. Now, here's the thing. The way we registered Shakeology, it's registered as a supplement because it has all these fancy, awesome phytonutrients in it. And that means that dietary supplements, if we just had protein and carbohydrate, it would just be a meal replacement shake. And that's awesome, but it wouldn't have this best-in-class premium quality. So with all these fancy phytonutrients, we register it as a supplement, which means you always got to have your client talk to the doctor about using it. The shake is going to be fine, I believe. From my medical perspective, I would give it to any of my patients if they're pregnant or breastfeeding, but you got to make sure that their doctor makes that call, that their OB-GYN does the label check and says, yes, I think it's fine for you. But yes, truthfully, every woman that I've worked with who's pregnant, I get them on an additional 300 calories. That means I would blend up a shake and I'd add in some fresh fruit, some yogurt, some whatever they like, avocado, healthy fats, super important for the baby's brain and super important for mommy's brain. And then in breastfeeding mode, when they need 500 calories, I would also have them do a shake because they're going to lose weight much faster. They're going to get healthy protein. And again, replenishing those vital nutrients that the baby stole from the body, because that's what the baby's job is. So again, we as Beachbody, as a corporate representative, I can't say, yes, it's absolutely fine, because those are delicate people that we have to talk about from a legal perspective. But just send them to their doctor, ask the same questions, any issues with the label that you don't like. I want to get 300 calories or 500 calories additional. And it's usually a super simple conversation. Most doctors I know are like, yeah, the shake's amazing. Take it, drink it. I want you to have some supplementation.
I want to chime in on that with you guys too, because I am 12 weeks postpartum and I get a bajillion messages, and all of you coaches have asked me, you know, my take on it. And I'm confident in Shakeology, so it's I didn't even ask my midwife, or, you know, I was like, this is my shake. I know it's healthy. I was confident in it. But for newer coaches, we do actually have what's called a Dear Doctor letter, and it's in our Coach Online office, and they can literally give this letter and the label of the ingredients to their doctor. I always suggest that so that, you know, we're covered, because I understand that it's a complex shake. But I know that pregnant women will eat a brownie or French fries, or they will grab whatever and have no questions. And so my personal, you know, being a coach for 5 years, my answer is, you know, if you're willing to eat the brownie that has the artificial sweetener in it, you're most likely gonna, you know, look at these superfoods and everything that's in Shakeology after talking to your doctor and feel more confident in the decision of having the shake. And that's my personal belief. And they did ask Luigi in the comments, do you believe that it could replace or be compared to prenatal vitamin blends?
Oh, that's a great question. So I would say no for one specific reason. When Isabel and Darren were making the blends, the Shakeology Whey blend you're going to notice a lot of vitamins and minerals on the label. So you'll see vitamins and minerals here in that column. In the vegan blend, when you're looking at that, you're going to see very few vitamins and minerals. And the reason behind that was, particularly Isabel, when she was really, I'd say both Darren and Isabel, they wanted to make sure for the purists, if you're working with someone who's a true purist, who doesn't want to take a vitamin and mineral, but wants to get their natural vitamin and minerals from spinach, from kale, from beets, from chicken, fish, this allows them to have a base, a template to work off of. So you're going to notice in your vegan Shakeology, it's not like we were trying to, you know, just leave the vitamins and minerals out, but it was specifically designed for the purists who want super clean label. They know it's all certified with everything, but also there was very few vitamins and minerals. Those vitamins and minerals you see come from naturally occurring the greens or the vegetables that we put in. And we measured those specific amounts on that label. So to your question, when people take a prenatal, and And the shake is going to satisfy a lot of stuff. But when people take a prenatal, it's really calculated to deliver on the folic acid and this, the water soluble and fat soluble vitamins in just the right amounts. So I would say that's the only reason I would say I wouldn't have it replace that, but I would think of it as something that could help with the macronutrients, the protein, the healthy carbohydrates and fiber. And of course, you're going to get some of the micronutrients, those vitamins and minerals and trace elements as well.
Yes, awesome answer. In the coach world of all the mommies, we say if you're going to take a prenatal, drink vegan because it's not fortified, and you don't really need to drink the whey formula that has the vitamins and then add on a vitamin, because there's the whole talk of the vitamin A being a little much if you do both. So again, for those people who haven't been pregnant or aren't sure how to answer that, that is usually what I personally suggest. And I will also tell you that in my first trimester, couldn't look at Shakeology. And I told people that. But guess what I did love? Daily Sunshine. So I'm so happy that we had that. The strawberry banana, I couldn't even look at chocolate, which is weird for a pregnant woman, was my favorite. And so make sure that you guys talk about Daily Sunshine. Sean and I always have both in our cabinets because, to be honest, some days I'm like, okay, I've had Shakeology already today, but I want something else yummy. And so I go to my Daily Sunshine, and that has all the fancy labels that people like the purists he was talking about. It has all those labels, and it's amazing. I don't market it as a kid shake. I know we're supposed to. I say it's for kids, but it's my adult snack. And that's $30 off this month.
It's a great point, Colleen. And to all the bells and whistles, non-GMO, soy-free, clearly dairy-free, gluten-free, certified organic, right there on the label across. And as you just mentioned, my wife, again, I shouldn't be promoting it because I'm one of the corporate reps, but my wife loves drinking Daily Sunshine herself as her shake. You're right. It's positioned as a children's shake, but she loves it. She actually prefers, that's her favorite. The strawberry banana is her favorite flavor. I actually drink 2 Shakeologies a day. And let's say if my kids are running around and I see them not finishing their Daily Sunshine, then I knock that one out too. But I think it's really important that you consider all those as options. And I think that's a great point you make for someone who's pregnant and breastfeeding.
Yes, Daily Sunshine was a staple for me. Okay, we are up on our hour. Luigi, thank you so much. I hope that Beachbody gives you the opportunity to keep speaking on all these products because it really does help us, and there's things behind the scenes that we don't know. So let you share more info with us.
It's my pleasure, Colleen. I just want to say thanks for having me on. I'm so apologize I was late. I was running from one meeting to another, but I'm super excited for all of what you're doing as coaches, not just from a nutritional perspective, from a public health perspective, because every time you talk to a group of people online through a Zoom call or Instagram, you're helping people with their weight management or with their health. So thanks for all you do. And remember, my job is that I work for you, for your education, promotion, whatever we can do to help you, you let me know. And I'd love to do another call anytime.
Thank you so much, and have a great night, everyone. I'll post this recording as soon as it is done converting. Have a great night.
Take care.
Say hi, Nixon. This is my Shakeology Daily Sunshine, baby. Hi,
Ben. Beautiful. See, the product results.
I know, right? Okay, I'll let you go now.
I'm impressed. Bye,
guys.